Wow. Just reading an email that was just sent from New York City's Human Resources Administration to all names on its distribution list, and the Epic Times just got a hold of it. It urged all staff who can work overtime to do so to deal with a drastic influx of asylum seekers in Manhattan and other boroughs. Internal request comes a week after the mayor, Eric Adams, described a growing stream of illegal aliens coming to the Big Apple as a real burden on New Yorkers. Oh, because New York already has overburdened shelter systems. Oh, again. DSS and HRA leadership and staff in recent weeks, we have seen a drastic influx of asylum seekers coming into our shelter intake sites. Gee, where do you think they're coming from? These must be from the Canadian border. So it's urgent. The city says they don't have the money to be able to deal with it. It's very much like the problems that you're seeing, of course, with those 4,000 immigrants that have been shipped from Arizona and Texas on a bus. And they say sometimes in the middle of the night, these people are just brought in without the city's knowledge. Oh my gosh, that's unheard of. So I just been crunching some numbers. 4,000 illegal immigrants have come in over the last couple of months to Washington, D.C. Okay. 4,000. Does Washington, D.C., because this is a crisis, they can't afford it. They need federal assistance. A federal emergency has to be declared. 4,000 over the last couple of months. Do they know that the Border Patrol in Texas is arresting more than 4,000 illegal immigrants every day? And those are the ones, that we've arrested. The small border towns have to cope with it's only 1,000 illegal immigrants. No, let me count the zeros. It's 1 million illegal immigrants to these little teeny border towns. Oh, man. Holy cow. Well, what is New York going to do? Mayor Adams has complained about it, even though the buses are only going to Washington, D.C. Somehow or another, people are finding their way to New York, and they're homeless, and he doesn't know what to do. Del Rio has a population of 35,000, and 35,000 people have now a shanty town of just Haitian illegals that sprung up overnight of 15,000. So just about half the population now is illegal. And there's 1,000 illegal immigrants coming up every day in Del Rio. That is, wow, 1,000 every day. And so in 4 days, it equals what Washington, D.C. has had to deal with. Oh, poor Washington, D.C., what they've had to deal with over the last 3 months. Oh, my gosh, how are they doing it? Screw Del Rio. How's Washington, D.C. doing it? And by the way, by the end of Biden's term at this rate, the number of people let in at the border will exceed 6 million people. So let's look at this. Okay, so Washington, D.C. is in a crisis. It is really bad. They have a budget that was set at $17.5 billion for the budget. Wow, that's a lot. Huh. Okay, $17.5 billion. Where are they going to squeeze the money for those 4,000 immigrants that they've gotten over the last 4 months, Del Rio's budget, on the other hand, $17.5 billion will sound like peanuts. Del Rio's full budget, all of it, is $107 million, as opposed to $17.5 billion. So it's only 163 times bigger than Del Rio's. If you look at Del Rio's budget, and I'm going to give you the full budget here, okay? However, let's do the math here, because if you look at Washington, D.C., 17 billion. Yeah, but they got a lot going on. So let's just look at what money is used just on homelessness in Washington, D.C. It's $31 million. Okay. Now, the total possible border immigration budget, I mean, that is taken CapEx expenses, everything. That is the bus system, the Economic Development Corporation, the channel, room tax, nutrition services, the service for women, infant, and children, all transportation, the entire administration, transportation operations, all of that, economic development. You take all of that, and they have a whopping total that you would collapse the rest of the, but you'd still have money. I mean, you'd still have the lights on at City Hall. You have 23,253,335. Okay, compared to D.C., which solely focused on homelessness is 31 million. Okay, all right. Okay. I'm trying to see what the problem here is with Washington, D.C. New York is also reporting not to receive any of the bus immigrants, and they now have a budget of $101.7 billion. Just to put that in perspective, El Paso is 5% of D.C.'s budget. Brownsville, 0.9% of D.C.'s total budget. They have 4,000 in D.C., and it's a national emergency. Okay. All right. McAllen, it's 3% of D.C.'s total budget. Laredo has 1.24% of D.C.'s total budget. These towns are being swamped with people. There are more immigrants than there are residents in those towns. And do you see the media doing anything about it? Do you see anybody that cares about those towns? Because I'm seeing a huge uproar in the press on how cruel it is to just take these poor migrants and put them on a bus and ship them into a city like Washington, D.C. that just is not prepared. But Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, we're just expected to bring them all in. Millions. Bring them in. Sure, we've got all this money down here in Texas because we're in oil and gas. Oh, wait, we're not selling the oil and gas anymore because we've been cut off by this administration. Well, I'm sure we have money just coming out of our ears. These small towns, of 30,000 people, out of those 30,000, you're telling me that there's not a billionaire or two in town that won't even miss it? I mean, I can go on a block, take just the Bloomberg building. There's, 10,000 people living in there. 1/3 the population of any of these towns, Del Rio, 1/3. And how many billionaires just live in that one building? Come on, cough up your billionaires, Laredo. Cough them up. It's time for them to pay their fair share. This is sickening. It's absolutely sickening when New York is affected or Washington, D.C. is affected at all by this. The media goes crazy and talks about how cruel and how these poor people are suffering. And mothers have been abused on their way into America. And who's going to care for them? Yeah, that's what we've been saying the whole time. Except you only care about it when money is involved. We in Texas and other border states are dealing with this every single day. We're seeing people firsthand. Yeah, but you flew a drone over. CNN was there with a drone so they could see it. Yeah. I'm thinking about sending buses up to CNN. You know what, guys? CNN will welcome you. Just go to the Time Warner Center. They are going to love having a bunch of migrants right there at the doors of the Time Warner Center, because I know they love immigrants. They love you. You're just as American as they are. Go there, and they'll help you. It is. We are so close to winning, and yet so close to death. This is going to be only one is going to last in the end. And the progressives think it's America that's going to fall. I hope to God that we are all awake. And I think we are. The trust in the media is at the lowest ever. But that doesn't mean you can disengage. You can unplug and cut the cable. But you have to find a source of information that you can trust to keep you up to speed, because we are very close to the end game. It could happen this fall. But I think Americans are waking up, and finally there are some people that are standing up, like Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis standing up with Mickey Mouse, with the head of Mickey Mouse, just letting him dangle by one ear, I think we're close to winning. Just don't sit down. And listen, let's make Mickey's blood the last blood that is shed, okay? Sure, it's a cartoon mouse, but no more, even cartoon blood, please.